Hello guys, this is Zara for Trans Youth, as usual. So this week's topic is counseling for the LGBT community, therapy for the LGBT community. Things like, why is it important? And mostly, how do you find a person who is supportive of the LGBT community and also knows what they're talking about, because there's a difference between supportive and knows what they're talking about. I haven't really had any bad experiences with this, to be honest. I've only been to one therapist, and I only saw him for I think it was 2-3 months. It was basically a group therapy session. It's well known here in Toronto. It's a group called Gender Journeys. If you live in the Toronto area, you've probably heard of it yourself. And I don't know, maybe you have a similar group where you live if you're not in the Toronto area. That's basically what it is. It's like group therapy for trans people. Now, the man who was running that group, the therapist, if you will, and his assistant also, both were trans men. So that is the ideal person you want to find, if you can. And of course, there are only so many trans therapists out there, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure there are a few, but, finding one, I'm sure, is not that easy. There may or may not be one in your area. But cis people should be able to help you just as much if they know what they're talking about, whether they're trans or not. Well, I mean, if they're trans, they can get it from personal experience. But somebody who is cis and is a therapist for the LGBT community, they can get some pretty good knowledge about it themselves. So that is basically the ideal person you want to get. He was absolutely incredible. He helped me so much. And, well, because of him, I was able to get my hormones. He was the therapist I basically had to see before I could get prescribed HRT. And also doing it as group therapy, I found it was much easier than being one-on-one. Because I'm typically, it probably doesn't come across that way because I talk so much in my videos, but I'm typically not a very chatty person. I'm actually usually pretty quiet. And I don't know, I just found that easier, and it was very helpful. Like, what they did in that group, they did things like basically teach us about trans people, for one thing. Teach us history and all that fun stuff. We did a night where we bring family members and friends, and we would discuss everything with them. That was incredibly helpful for me. Both my parents came to that, and it was awesome. Now, if there is something like that in your area, it probably won't be hard to find out about it. If there is any LGBT community at all where you live, and there's a group like that, you'll hear about it. If you have friends who are LGBT, they'll say, oh, you need to go to this guy. He's amazing. Oh, and I guess I'll mention his name. Well, no, the group is Gender Journeys. Actually, the guy who was my therapist isn't there anymore. But I think his assistant, who is also a trans man, is now the head person. So, it's at 410 Sherbourne in Toronto. And you can Google it. I mean, I'm sure it's all over the place. I can give you information for it if you want to get it from me. Just, comment to me. There is a great group, however, they're based out of California. It's called Creative Insights, and that is a group of LGBT-friendly counselors who, now, I know that sounds like it'll only be helpful if you live in California, but what's amazing about them is that they can do, I believe you can call them, you can email them, and you can get help from them that way. Basically, they're there to help people. That's amazing because not everybody is going to be able to find something in their area. There are people who live in small, shitty little towns in the middle of nowhere, and they're going to want to find a LGBT therapist. somebody who is knowledgeable of the community and would be able to help them out. They're not going to be able to find that where they live. And so that's where somebody like this comes in handy. So if you're somebody who is seeing a counselor now, but they don't really know, they're kind of not LGBT friendly, they're not helping you. Honestly, they're not. Like, especially if they're the kind of person who is trying to fix you. Get out of there, is what I say. Those people, you know what? They're entitled to their opinion, but don't try to force your views on others. Let people live their life. I don't give a fuck if you think I'm gonna burn in hell. I do not give a fuck if you think I'm gonna burn in hell. And I'm sure most people don't, because I don't think I'm gonna burn in hell. And I don't care what you think, to be honest. So, you know, if you are in that situation where you're seeing somebody who is not friendly to the LGBT community, that's not helping you. That's hindering you. If you're on the verge of beginning transition, for example, but you're seeing a therapist like that, you've told them what your plans are, and they're like, no. Are you sure you're just not gay? Because I'm very smart, I'm gonna say that. No. Actually, no, they wouldn't say that because they're anti-LGBT. Okay, but you get my point. Just don't put yourself in that situation. I would rather be seeing no therapist than be seeing somebody like that. It's not gonna help you. So what does an LGBT counselor look like? It's not really gonna be easy to spot, but as I said before, if there is somebody like that in your area and your area has a good, sizable LGBT community, they're not going to be hard to find. You're going to hear about them, I don't know, if you Google their name, Google where you live, whatever, there's going to be some reviews from somebody else who's seen him already. Hear about it from your LGBT friends, whatever. It shouldn't be hard to find. As far as I know, every LGBT person in Toronto knows about gender journeys, but, you know, maybe every once in a while somebody doesn't. Yeah. And I don't know, I think they tend to advertise the fact that they're friendly to the LGBT community. But as I said earlier, there's a difference between friendly and knowing what they're talking about. You don't want somebody who's going to be telling you, if you want to transition, you don't want somebody who's going to be telling you, are you sure you're just not gay? No, I'm not gay. This has nothing to do with sexual orientation. This has everything to do with my body not being the right body, not what my partner has in their pants. Simple as that. That person doesn't know what they're talking about. They say they're friendly to the LGBT community because they don't get offended by two men kissing. Big deal. You shouldn't. Nobody should. They need to know what they're talking about, is my point. Because they're going to be giving you all this information. They're going to be giving you information that you are probably going to take to heart, are probably going to remember for a long time, because you expect a therapist to be somebody who is going to help you. And that's what they should be. But that's not always the case. And it can't be the case if they don't know what they're talking about. That's why somebody like Creative Insight is awesome. Because we have talked to the person who owns Creative Insight, and she is wonderful. You know, she knows what she's talking about. And they're amazing. It can be important to have somebody to talk to when you're LGBT, because oftentimes there aren't people who are going to understand, to be honest. Like, you know, I do have a fair bit of trans friends, but none of my none of the people that I'm super, super, super close to are trans. So my few close friends, my family, they're who I would go to first to discuss the problems in my life. And unfortunately, though they are extremely supportive of my transition and everything, they don't really know how to give me advice when it comes to my being a trans woman, my transition, all of that. They have no idea what to tell me. And that's why having somebody like that is ideal. Aside from the fact that you kind of need them to be able to get a HRT, at least in Canada you do. They're very helpful. And, you know, as I said earlier in the video, I only have seen one therapist in my lifetime, and I only saw him for about 3 months in a group therapy session. But there have been many a time since then that I've wished, holy fuck, I wish I had a therapist to talk to about this right now. And I think the main reason I don't have a therapist is because cash, to be honest. But I do wish I did have one. And basically for that reason, because I want to talk to somebody who's gonna understand and give me real, usable information about that topic. As much as I love my family and friends, and I'm so happy for their support, they're not gonna give me what I need when it comes to that. So that's why it's gonna come in handy. As I said earlier, there are therapists out there that try to cure LGBT clients. Stay the fuck away from them. That's not going to help you at all. They're trying to push their views on you. And I don't want to sound anti-religious, but typically they're all like, God won't allow this. You will not get into heaven. You know? And that's where it comes from. It's not like... It's like, use your head. Do you think this is wrong? Are you basing everything you think on this one text? Okay. No, I'm not gonna go on a rant about that. But that's where it comes from most of the time. And it just doesn't help anybody. If you think that way, to be honest, that's cool. I'm not going to try to change the way you think, but don't push it on others. Don't think you're saving these people, because you're not. You're hurting them. Let them live their own life, and you can not like it all you want, but let them live their own life. End of story. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. I hope this video helped you guys. If you live in a bigger, more populated area, chances are you're going to be able to find something. Chances are. Google, ask around, all these things. People in the LGBT community will know about it if there is something like that in your area. If you live in a smaller, less populated area, and you're not able to find something near you, the internet is a wonderful thing. Phones, emails. There are groups like Creative Insight where you can still talk to people. And, you know, the internet is full of wonderful people. I'm on the internet, so are many other trans people willing to help you. Talk to somebody. I may not be a therapist, but I think I can help. And I'm sure that's what a lot of other people would say too. So yeah, this is Zara for Trans Youth, once again. Love you guys. Comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Mwah. So this is going to be a pretty cool topic. This one is about just being a supportive person. Not necessarily being an ally for the LGBT community.